Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Black History Month profiles on 1010 Wins and 1010wins.com. I'm Larry Mullins, and I tell you what, I want to start with the question: how many times have you been invited to a formal function, a wedding, a big school convention or anything of that nature, and you say to yourself, you know what, I'd really like to go, but I don't have anything to wear? And you got a closet full of clothes. Like Mama used to say, boy, you got a closet full of clothes in there. You got something to put on. He said, no, I'm not going. I'm not going. You end up not going to the event because you have nothing to put on. Well, guess what? There's some folks out there who really have nothing to put on. They have nothing in their closet because guess what? Some of them don't have closets or they don't have the budgets to fill their closets. And talk about self-esteem issues in the wake of someone who might not have or not feel like they're dressed properly or have anything decent to put on. It could be anywhere, to go to a social function, to go to a wedding, graduation, to go to their kids' PTA meeting. I can't go because I'm not dressed well. Well, you see people walking around on the streets and you wonder, okay, is that guy homeless or not? Well, you never know because he's in a nice suit. And as they say, when you look good, you feel good. And when you feel good, you're productive. There's a lot of folks out there, particularly men, we'll speak in terms of men because of the subject matter today, who can't go, who can't do, who can't dress, and have that low self-esteem. Well, I've got a guy here with me today who did something about that starting about a decade ago. Went out and he's dressed, to my knowledge, 150,000 men in this country. It gives me honor to introduce the incomparable Mr. Kevin Livingston, the co-founder, or the founder, I should say, and CEO of 100 Suits for 100 Men.
Yes, yes.
I am so thrilled.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I
Proud,
appreciate it.
proud of the work that you do.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And obviously, he dresses himself well, or he has a significant other who dresses him well. Obviously, they didn't dress me this morning, but that's okay. I'll talk to him after the show. Welcome, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
And the important work that you do. I have to begin by asking, I think, the obvious question: what possessed you to want to dress 100 men, much less one or two or whatever? Were you homeless? Were you without a suit? Talk to me.
Absolutely. I started a company. My father and my uncle always made me dress up, especially my father. He would make me dress up and come to his travel agency. And I'm thinking I'm getting ready to go do something real special. He'll send me in the back to stamp brochures. And I'll be like, why you have me dress up? And he's like, because you want to look the part.
Wow.
And so when I started 100 Suits, initially it was supposed to be 100 suits for 100 gang members. I wanted to buy 100 suits for 100 gang members. But the company is dwarfed. God had other plans, and I followed them.
What was the thinking? 100 suits for 100 gang members.
Well,
what was that to do? I know and you know.
Yeah.
But break it down.
So I'm from the area of South Jamaica, Queens, and I was a customer service rep in Carver Bank. And, I would always see the community look at these young men and degrade them versus engage with them. And so we had a large issue in that area, and I wanted to do something. And I thought that I know what it feels like when you put a suit on, how empowering it is. And so I initially just wanted to buy 100 suits for 100 gang members in Queens. That's how I really started this organization.
So you went out and bought these suits?
No, they were donated.
Okay.
And so I put a box in the lobby of the bank. My manager at the time, who since passed, Martin Marcel, was able to allow me to put a box in the lobby of the bank. And then I started collecting. And then we had everybody come. It caught wind at the time. Anthony Weiner was running. He came and brought his suits, and we were just taking them. If you look at 100 Suits on the internet, you will see a rack in front of Popeyes, because that's how we started. We used to do the pop-up shop. I put all my suits. We stand in front of where they're at and start handing them out.
Kevin, that is amazing. And so now let's dial this back a moment. 10 suits for 10 gang members. Those brothers don't dress in suits. What do you have to do to convince them to put on a suit?
Well, it's very contrary to a lot of people's belief. A lot of people just don't have the opportunity, or there's no reason for other people. I mean, it's broadened, right? I initially went in with that aspect, but then I noticed that there's the everyday brother who takes care of his family, or who does not have a job but needs a suit to go to a job interview, or a brother who's getting ready to come home and wants to feel empowered, right? It is so wide net. And so I always tell people when they put a suit on, it's an alien effect. Because they never wore a suit jacket. They always stand like this. And I'm like, you can put your arm down, brother. You can relax. Let me feel you. Let me get your fitting correctly. And they look at themselves. And the most empowering thing when they put on a suit is how they look at themselves in the mirror. Is something that I can't explain. What resonates back at them when they look at themselves.
And what comes back to you from these young men with whom you've dressed? What's the barometer? What are you hearing? What are you seeing?
So this happened about a year ago. I was in a supermarket, and the gentleman says, "Hey man, what's up, brother?" I was like, "Hey, how you doing, brother?" You know, and he was like, "You don't remember me?" And I said, "Not really." He was like, "Well, I want to say thank you," and I was like, "Wow." I said, "Well, no problem, brother." You know, obviously I may have gave him a suit at the time. He didn't. He then persisted to tell me, because he was in the MTA uniform, the suit that I gave him 11 years ago
Was to apply
was
for
a
that
suit
job.
for his interview with
Get
the
out of here.
MTA.
Get out of here.
And he wound up getting hired, and now he's a supervisor.
Get out of here. Stop it
In
now.
the MTA.
You're going to fool around and preach, okay?
Don't get me started.
Oh, my goodness.
And so that right there was so empowering. You know, I can show you countless things. People tell me the phone calls that they had with me directly while they were in Attica. And I followed through what I said I was going to do.
You identified a need. You're doing something that we always try to educate our young men on, and that is when you really, really want to step out and do something great in the community or for yourself in a career, identify something that, identify a need and go for it. And that's exactly what you did. You were 501c3, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wow. And so it's been 10 years?
January 9th will make 14 years.
14 years as of January 9th. Okay. Wow. And you're still dressing them?
Every day.
How? How do you recruit? How do you find people who need a suit? You go out on the street and say, "Oh, you need a suit," or what?
We do that too. we have thank God 14 years been consistent, kept the brand name clean, kept our noses clean. We've been able to build by the word of mouth. And so agencies send their clients to us. But we also do a lot of work in Rikers Island. So 100 Suits is broken up into many different components, because I stopped just giving people a suit maybe 12 years ago, because I felt like I was doing more of a disjustice just giving them a suit.
How so?
Right? Because if I give you a suit, but if I don't encourage you, if I don't show you how to tie a tie, if I don't find out what's going on with you, Black men are suffering from mental health on a dire basis, on a day-to-day basis. And so encouraging them, right? The population that we work with, a lot of people walking around very angry, right? So when they come in for a suit, it's an experience. And again, I particularly say Black and brown men because that's the community I work in, but we deal with everybody. And it could be Black, white, Asian, non-gender conforming, Hispanic, whoever you are, you walk in our community and you walk in our office, you're going to walk out another way, because you make one step, we make another one with you.
Yeah.
And so when I give you a suit, I also want to talk with you, right? We want to find out, are you able to feed your family? Do you have a resume? Do you need to talk? And I just put a period on that.
So it goes far beyond just the suit, because you don't want to see a dressed up man walk around angry.
Absolutely.
We got enough of those in the banking system. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Absolutely. It was on we have a workforce development component. We do cure violence. Where we do therapeutic services. The area that we work in, shootings have gone down 73%.
Needless to say, companies have embraced you.
Yes.
And what you're doing. And they've supported you.
Yes.
Share some of that. And then when you walked into XYZ Bank or whatever and said, "Hey, I want to give suits. I want to dress these people. I want to build their self-esteem." Initial reaction, and how's it going now, 14 years later?
Listen, it's a blessing. I always tell people I'm a product of being told no to. I'm 100% product of being told no to. I can't tell you how many local politicians blacklisted me, how many celebrities didn't believe in me, how many community members didn't want to talk to me because we were arguing about speed bumps when someone was shot and killed on the corner, or there's a mental health crisis in our community 9 years before COVID, but nobody wanted to talk about it. And I always want to use my platform to make sure I echo and scream out the mental health that's happening in our communities. And so now, it's funny, we're working together. I'm not bitter, but I knew what I was believing in 14 years ago. And I thank God and my father that I was able to stay on that vision, because now they see it. They may not seen it then. The most important thing is I saw it. and I continued through.
Somebody told me once, take 1,000 no's, build a mountain of 1,000 no's for one yes.
Yes.
And you have done that many, many times over.
Thank you.
So you started out one location, and now you have 5 in Queens here, I understand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the mission is the same no matter where. You were planning at one point, or are you planning to go global with this? I had heard some international things, about that as well.
Share this is actually opening up. We are in 2025. We are going to start an affiliate expansion model where people can open up 100 suits in their local municipalities and or markets. We've gotten express interest from far as Australia, Japan, Midwest, California. So we're going to be expanding in 2025 through our affiliate expansion model. So
it's a win-win. So you're creating a turnkey for other areas as well.
One of my mentors who's actually working with me in that is Joy Gordon, the former CEO of Dress for Success.
I was going to ask you, who were your mentors, that created this Kevin Livingston that we're seeing right now?
My father.
Yeah.
He's no longer with me physically, but he's here. Joy Gordon, Colin Kaepernick.
You worked with him on this project.
I still do work. Yep. Still work with him. Still an amazing mentor. But the biggest mentor I have, honestly, community. Yeah. Community.
You were mentioning to me also in the walk-up that you provided this service for women as well.
Yes.
But you no longer do that. Help us out with that.
So the suiting aspect,
we need a nice suit and a new dress too.
So the suiting aspect, we had I launched 100 suits for 100 women back in 14, but we dialed down the suiting aspect because our partners at Dress for Success, that's what they do. And so we'll allow them to continue to do that while we focus on the men. And then at the time, we were like a struggling organization. It was just me really, and interns. And so I didn't want to put a woman in a position where she'll come and get an item, and then we have men in there that she has to change her clothes. And so I just kind of
stay away from that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that made sense. So if one wants to donate a suit or suits, how do they go about? What is the process?
Yes, so you can go to our website, which is 100suitsnyc.org, or call our office, which is 646-618-9797. We're open Tuesday through Saturday, and we accept donations, and it goes right back into the community.
Okay, and you have people there going through the apparel, making sure it's clean and it's stitched, and it's pressed, or whatever.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
yes, sir. We do.
Go ahead. And then, how do the young men get a hold of your organization to get one of these suits?
Right on. So going through the website, we partner with tons of workforce development programs throughout New York City. We have. And there's another thing, we are in the process of opening an office on Rikers Island. So we'll have a boutique inside of one of the jails so that when the gentleman goes to trial, right? I'm a firm believer that if you are incarcerated, you're innocent to proven guilty, not the other way around. And so we want to make sure that they can represent themselves well. And if they're coming home and they're completing a workforce development program incarcerated, we're providing them a suit to come home so they can hit the ground running. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be in Rikers Island by the end of this year.
Kevin, you're providing quite a service, and I know you have been lauded by a number of organizations for your work in the community.
Thank you.
All types of applause and all types of props and kudos and that sort of thing.
Thank you.
I would imagine, looking at it from a community service standpoint, you're helping them to rehab these young men.
Yes.
By doing what you do.
Yes.
What must that feel like when they see you coming through the door and saying, hey, not only are you all providing them rehab, on the penal scale, when you start talking about Rikers, but once they get out and try to readjust and reacclimate to society, you take it from there.
I'm just a firm believer in relationships. I still have a young man that I provided programming right. Every Thanksgiving, we provide home-cooked meals to the housing units in Rikers Island, and we go there and stay with them. I'm there from 9 a.m. to 2:30 in the afternoon. This will be year number 8. And so back in 2017, when I was able to do that, a young man was in a housing unit. He didn't have anything. He was incarcerated with a gang, and he was just, to this day, we're very, very close. He's a father of 2. We support him along. We just bought him a car seat. He's in the middle of different employment now, but that mentorship has stayed there. And so it feels good to me because you build relationships. When I go into that jail, the housing unit, hey, 100 suits, what's going on? It's not just about a suit. I brought a suit in the housing unit, and you should see how they run around with a suit on. Guys getting themselves measured up, right? It makes them feel good, right? But also,
but now let me show you how to act when you put on that suit.
Exactly, right? And what, all right, you got the suit on, brother, but what do you want to do next? What's your next step? How can I be helpful? Let me show you this way. Let me listen to you. Let me listen to you. Sometimes we often talk at people without listening to them. And so that is something that I, in my later life, my 46 years of living, have learned that with us men, it's not easy to speak. And I want to make sure that they know that it's okay to talk. It's just only fatal not to say something.
Who are you, brother? Who are you? And why you? Where did this come from?
My love for the people. And, I'm a product of Elaine and Henry. And more importantly, I know that God is using me as a vessel to speak on things that are not popular, see things before they're seen. And I'm going to continue to be a blessing to others. That's my drive. And be a great father and grandfather.
We know about the international plans, and we see you, spreading all over this area as well as this country eventually. Where do you see it in 10 years? Still putting clothes on backs?
Right on. That absolutely. That's just like the carrot to get them to the table. I do see supportive housing for men and women who are dealing with children on the spectrum. There's a lot of people who have dealt with young people who are just having a hard time adapting, but the families are still struggling. They're trying to keep ends meet. And so I want to provide supportive housing for that. I also want to continue to provide supportive housing for men and women coming home from incarceration, but make a huge dent in mental health awareness. I'm a very big proponent to that.
And not just donating suits, but I would imagine it takes some paper, to help make this thing work as well. Can we go to the site to donate as well?
Yes, sir. 100suitsnyc.org.
Okay. I think you're doing some great work, man.
I appreciate
That's good stuff. Who dresses you?
My daughter, she's 9. No, not me.
Final thoughts, Kevin. I'll let you wrap this up. We have a couple of minutes left in the program. What do you say to the young man who may be sitting there going, man, no suit's going to make me feel better, or, nobody's going to hire me, or I'm not going to do this, or whatever. I'm playing devil's advocate now. What do you say to that guy?
Be encouraged. Look in the mirror. See the crown that's looking back at you, young king. Understand that a suit is just a prerequisite, brother. It's about what's inside. Heal. It's okay to heal. Need to talk? I'm here. But look in that mirror and believe what's looking back at you. We can get the suit later.
I'll let that be the final word. Kevin Livingston, everybody. 100 suits for 100 men.
Thank you.
Go to the website. Tell us the website one more time.
100suitsnyc.org.
Appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you.
And thank you for joining us on this edition of Black History Month Profiles here on 1010 Wins and 1010wins.com. I'm Larry Mullins. Catch you on the radio.